Hello.
Hello, welcome everyone to the Pro Baseball Central podcast. This is Joe McDonald with you, and I am joined live out in Las Vegas by our managing editor, Rich Mancuso. Rich, how are you?
Good, Joe. How you doing in New York?
Oh, we're doing okay. It must be a little bit warmer weather out there, right?
No, it's not. It's not desert weather. It's in the 40s, so it's really not that much better. But it's not bone chilling though, at least.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to
Yeah.
hear. So when do meetings start this week? That's why you're out there. So what are you hearing?
Well, everything that we've heard up till now is still in place. You hear, the Yankees still be pursuing another pitcher for the rotation, possible infielder maybe. I don't think he'll anything about Gary Sanchez moving, as you heard a couple of weeks ago. The two big names, though, and it does pit with the Yankees and the Mets, Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, and there's always speculation that either one of them could get signed by a team here out of the meetings by the end of the week, and even that the Mets or Yankees would be involved with that. But I'm not sure, Joe, because of the salary structure. I don't think the Yankees want to spend that much money on a Harper, a $350 million that you've been hearing. Neither would the Mets. And though, if you look at both teams, you think the Yankees would have a better need for Machado. That's been the talk and a lot of rumbling about that. But I don't expect Machado or Harper to be signed by any team as we get out of these meetings the end of the week.
Well, as the meetings just started, we also have a couple new Hall of Famers and a disappointment, apparently. George Steinbrenner, who was up by the Veterans Committee, was turned down or not voted in by the committee of, I believe, 16 people to be in the Hall of Fame.
That got the baseball world buzzing. This morning out here, you've heard some positives about it, a lot of negatives about it. Our columnist, our colleague Ray Negron, who writes for our website, New York Sports Day, of course, George Steinbrenner's biggest supporter. We all know the story about Negron and George. He was crying, and I called him early this morning. First thing I did when I got up was called Ray, and told him I was disappointed. And he was crying. He couldn't even talk because he's been the biggest supporter and advocate of making sure that the boss, George Steinbrenner, was in the Hall of Fame. I don't know how you could take this, Joe, as far as why or why not he is not going into the Hall of Fame. I just think that there is a lot of negativity towards George Steinbrenner in his era and making the Yankees the type of team they became. At the same time, I think there was a lot of positives that he did for baseball, despite all the negatives about him. And let's face it, there were. But the positives were that he got to spend money. He opened up the door for teams to spend money and create that revenue stream what Major League Baseball sees today as $1 billion industry. Granted, it might have been the evil empire that they call them, but overall, when you look at it, and I, for one, everyone knows, and I'm not a Yankee fan. I'm a baseball fan. We cover the sport, but when I look at it overall, I thought George Steinbrenner was good for the game. And let's not also look at the type of person he was, that he did care for his players, that he did do positive things despite all the negatives that came out during his tenure as a successful owner. He did a lot of positive things in the community, football players. He cared for his players. He was the first owner on the scene when there was an issue in baseball overall. He was the first one to speak up. So, yeah, I'm a little disappointed that he didn't get in, and he's not going to get in.
Well, and that, in all honesty, he took a Yankee brand that was dead.
Yeah.
Entirely dead.
That's right. That's the point.
Into the ground.
Yeah.
The city was a Mets city at the time, and he revived it.
And he kept it going. He made sure that this Yankees team was competitive every year. And he made sure by spending the money. And he innovated, with the Yes Network, got that started, and then made the fans happy, and made sure that the fans had a winning team on the field every year. And look at it, a lot of owners and a lot of franchises soon followed and did the same thing. In addition, whether Yankee, the city of New York, and whether a lot of people don't like the idea, but let's face it, on 161st Street and Jerome Avenue, River Avenue, is a cathedral, $1 billion ballpark.
Oh yeah,
and he made
in the city too.
And he made sure that the Bronx, where I still reside, as everyone knows, was a vital part of making sure that the Bronx was a vital part of New York City, and the Yankees was their home. And I met the guy twice on a personal basis. I had that relationship with him just 2 times, and the 2 times I met him were 2 times that I could say it was stunning. And that's what I got to say about it, because he was so clever. And when he talked with that style of very professional, yes, very demanding. But let's face it, I've been around millionaires and billionaires in sports all my life. But this man had a heart. He had a heart of gold.
Right.
And he had that heart of gold for the team that he loved, the New York Yankees. But more so, why did he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? It's what he did for the sport, what he did for the game overall, and that's why he belonged there.
No, I agree with you, and I agree with you 100%. And I'm a little upset for Ray as well. But
I think every Mets fan, Joe, I think every Mets fan, and you could talk, you could jump in on this with me. I think every Mets fan would have to say they wish they had an owner like George Steinbrenner that was willing to spend the money, that made sure that he had a winning team on the field every year. Right. I think every baseball fan who roots for their team wish they had an owner like this. Again, I'm not saying this man was an angel. Then again, no, not everyone is anyway. But George Steinbrenner promoted the game of baseball. And by doing so, with the New York Yankees, which, let's face it, most successful baseball franchise in the sport.
Right. Agreed. I agree with you 100%. And it's unfortunate, but Lou Piniella also should have gotten in my book.
Yeah.
He missed it by 1 vote. He probably will get in on the next round.
Yeah.
Davey Johnson is another one the Mets fan knows about, but he didn't get in anywhere close.
It's unfortunate the way, and we don't know what goes in the minds of those who have a say and can vote, and we don't. Right. We don't, you and I. And it's unfortunate that guys that you just mentioned don't get their opportunity to be enshrined. And this process will continue unless it changes. Now, how do you change it? We don't know. Well, right. We leave that up to them. Let them decide that. We'll leave that up to the experts who do this. But it's not fair. It's not fair because there are those that deserve to be in that are not getting in, and that's when you have to draw a line. And in this case, do you put an owner in the Hall of Fame as well? Do they belong there? Certain people, maybe there should be a separate wing altogether, like they do with the writers. The writers have a separate wing in the Hall of Fame. Maybe owners and certain executives should have their own separate wings, so this controversy doesn't continue. Who knows, Joe? Again, we don't make those decisions.
If Charlie Comiskey, who pretty much his frugalness caused the 1919 Black Sox scandal, or a guy like Walter O'Malley who ripped the Dodgers out of Brooklyn to make more money out of Los Angeles, are in the Hall of Fame, George Steinbrenner should be in.
Yeah, as well as guys like, if and I go a step further too with Pete Rose in the argument that he's banned from baseball and he will never be in the Hall of Fame, and that's pretty much surely know now that he'll never get in. But you got your steroid users that eventually might get in, whether they have an asterisk on their plaque or not. They'll get in, and Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle, won't, who all-time hits leader in baseball. Because what he did on the field had nothing to do with what he did off the field,
Right.
And he belongs there. So there you go. Another thing, where do you draw the line? So it's a do or a don't, and it has to be looked into. I do believe something has to be looked into this, and to me, baseball, and with Ray Negron crying this morning on the phone with me, and I'm telling you, he was hysterical, like a little kid. Not only because Ray very close to him, we all know the story, how he saved his life, blah blah blah. But it's the principle of it. This is a man that deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. If you're going to put someone in baseball, George Steinbrenner should have been in there.
Agreed. Oh, I agree with you 100%. So today, you're going to be going over there to the Mandalay Bay in a little bit, and you're going to be talking. I believe they're going to have the press conference for Harold Baines and Lee Smith. And among other things, what are you looking at today?
Yeah, today is just, you work the lobbies and you work they'll be bringing in every manager from every team the next few days, and we'll get to that point tomorrow with the New York part of it with Aaron Boone and Mickey Callaway. When more Yankee Mets stuff will be tomorrow. But you hear things, and again, as I always say, and as I write, rumors, and you hear this one might be going here. I think the GMs know what they want to do, and a lot of them are not even staying at the Mandalay Bay. They're scattered around town in different hotels here, because, this is a resort town. There's every hotel and hotel here. So a lot of them are not even staying in suites at the Mandalay Bay, to my understanding. So they're doing a lot of texting amongst each other, and you just have to warrant and just have to talk and listen, go with your sources, and when a deal is made, and we'll have it for you. We'll, as far as, again, the Mets, I think their emphasis here is to try and come out of here this week with a catcher, and maybe another outfielder, right-handed bat, and maybe and shore up the bullpen again. I do believe that they will come out of here with at least another bullpen guy, Andrew Miller, or maybe even David Robertson. I've been hearing that. They're definitely affordable for the Mets. The Riamoto talks, I think that all depends on if the Mets want to go further with it. And we've seen that Brody Van Wagenen be very aggressive and putting things together already. And do the Mets want to give up a core of the youth of this team that they have on the team right now, including Michael Conforto or Brandon Nimmo or whatever? I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Mets are going to spend the money on a catcher. It might be Maldonado. And I don't think Wilson Ramos would be the guy. I think more so that Maldonado would be the guy that they'll spend some money for. He comes at a reasonable price for them, and defensively, pretty good. Offensively, the back could be a little stronger, but look, he's better than what they have right now behind the plate in Plawecki and Denard.
Yeah, definitely that's the case. So we'll see what happens. You're going to be joined by Joe Sikoa out there, who's our host of the New York Hockey Report. He's going to be taking over my duties later on, I guess, as host of the show. So we'll be hearing from you probably a little later on tonight.
We'll have something. Yep, and we'll have stuff on the website and on Twitter, and fans can keep abreast of me starting later today at Ring 786 on Twitter, and on Facebook, of course, at Rich Mancuso, and of course at New York Sports Day, Joe. So
if you want to listen to this podcast, you can get it on your iTunes, you can get it on Google Play, you can get it on iHeartRadio, you can get it on TuneIn. You could ask Amazon Alexa to play it, and they'll play it. Instead of whether you do your Google Mini or your Google Home. So we're on everything. So you can listen
I will tell you this. There's no time to go to the tables or the slot machines this week because there's just so much movement going on. I mean, if you've never been at the winter meeting before, and you have, and
Yes,
I'm
I
talking
have.
for the fans, it's not just the deals and the